I'm going to make, hopefully from scratch today, a spinning puzzle card, and I thought I would do a Christmas one, but in a design that could be adapted to pretty much any floral. So I pulled out of my stash this one I've had for years. This is the New Poinsettia and Pine, and I'm gonna have a go with all my red scraps. So I've got a A6 card blank ready. So this is just a pre-bought UK A6 European size. And I've got all my scraps of red. My idea for this is I wrote flower dies, gold on cream or red, and a brad at the centre of the flower. I'm going to do my best that we stamp it so that my brad ends up going through the middle of the flower, and I can use the brad as the centre of the flower. I thought we could stamp our flower, mask it off, stamp some greenery around, and see how it ends up looking. Just going to use, this is just Versamark, which is clear sticky ink. So this is metallic gold rich wow embossing powder. So hopefully, because we put plenty of anti-static on, yay, that looks pretty good. And I always like to heat from behind, just because it goes flatter. So especially if you're doing, there we go, it's going now. Especially if you're doing greetings, if you heat from behind, it always goes flatter than if you try to heat from in front. Using one of my really old, nearly lost all of its stick masks. And by the way, these are the sticky all over. These are proper post-it notes, but I thought I'd show you. These are ones that are sticky all over. So they're not just sticky at one bit, they are completely sticky all over. My Catherine Pooler ink in Spruce. So I keep my stamp chamois. If anybody's got the IKEA pegboards, I keep my stamp chamois in one of the little slide in and out pots on my pegboard, and it keeps it, generally, if anyone's used stamp chamois, you know it's got to be a little bit wet all the time, or else it goes solid, and then you really have to soak it. So I keep mine in one of the little slide-in pots, and it seems to keep it just damp enough. So if you've got IKEA pegboard, it definitely seems to work. The green has actually gone almost black looking, but I don't think that matters. This is going to get brighter and brighter as we go along, because we're going to do something interesting with the layers, I think. So this is cut inside down, and using the magnet sheet to stop them twiddling round, because I want them as even as I can get them. These are actually a lot more forgiving than the circle dies. So if you don't cut those exactly right, the circle dies tend to, when you turn it, you can see, and it doesn't look like you should be able to see. But with everything else, I've been making it a feature that you can see the layer underneath. So it's a bit more forgiving if they're slightly out of line. I know I'm not going to have a lot of edge left. If I did my lining up right, I should just about be able to centre it. It might go off this edge, but I know this panel's slightly too big, so I can always trim. And I think it will still be on. Let me have a flip over and have a look. Yeah, there's quite a big border on the edge of it, so as long as I'm just on, I think I can get away with it and put my brad just slightly off centre. let's pull it out. Let's load it up. I think this card is, I think it might be some Lyman's. I don't think it's anything exciting. I think it's just one of their smooth red card stocks. If you like inking, if you like stamping, if you like die cutting, as long as you can keep it flat enough to die cut through for your top layer, you can do anything on these, which is why I think they've been so popular, because you can do pretty much anything. Now for my layers, I want to go gold to match my gold embossing. So I've just done one of, oh, where did that go? Still there. One of everything in red, one of everything in gold. Oh, thank you, Christy, for saying to hit the like button. I always forget to say, you know, if you've not liked and subscribed, you know, please do. All of our bits, we will just need something to hide behind the biggest one so that we can have our biggest flower spin. So let's just use another scrap of the red and then you won't see it, whatever happens. And this just needs to be small enough so that it'll hide and when we spin this. So there we go, we've got all of our layers. This one will drop in here when we stick it down, and this just needs to hide behind. So like I say, when we're doing these, I always do my puzzle because you want it to look the best with the whole dead centre when it's complete. So the next step is to get your hole through. Now, if you've got a Crocodile Big Bite, which is what I'm using, that's much the easiest thing. And this is the back of the pouch that I keep these dies in, and I've kept all of my templates. So all you do to find the centre of anything that's got lines of symmetry is fold it once, fold it again, use your pokey tool, poke a hole through the middle where the cross meets, and that's your centre. And like I say, these are all a bit more forgiving than the circles. If you don't get it dead centre, it's not so obvious. So all I do is line up my template as best you can and put a little mark in the middle. And I'm thinking that's going to have landed on my tape, yeah. So because my tape's in the middle, which doesn't matter, you should be able to see exactly where that is. And then my piece is going on the back, which is what's going to allow this outer ring to spin. Just want to tape it on like that. So if you've got a Crocodile Big Bite, the easiest way is put your marker on for your hole, find your centre. And it's so hard for me to show you on camera because I need to be able to see. And push. And I said this gold card, this has never failed me, but this gold card is so ridiculously thick, I don't even think my crocodile's going to go through. There we go, it did. That's why I like my Crocodile Big Bite, because it went through all that in one go. But as I've said, if you don't have that, you can do it layer by layer with a different type of punch, or you can do it with your pokey tool, poking through layer by layer and making your hole a bit bigger. Well, the little flower's quite cute, isn't it? And the sort of brass goes, and that'll cover up the fact that I haven't put it quite dead centre because it's not quite dead centre. Let's go with that then. So let's get all these stuck down, and then all we need to do is foam tape. So like I said, I got it, I knew had got it really quite close to the edge, so I'm just going to stick that side back together. And it's nice and thin, so we're already adding lots of layers with the, with this coming up. So if you don't want to add too much more thickness, I just use something that's just a bit thicker. You can see it's probably only 1 mil foam. Right, so all I need to do is pull up my back in and pop this in the middle. I'm gonna undo it, and hopefully you can see what it would look like if you sent it all mixed up. So I love the idea that still looks pretty good with the gold showing through, and I just need to decide if I want some sort of sentiment on it. I'm thinking we could do probably something in red, mount it on the gold just so it matches. This is a Stamps by Chloe. It was one of the magazine box sets. I don't think it was last year, I think it might have been the year before. So I'm just lining up the bottom with the Christmas. So I'm just going to run that through my die cut machine with it hanging off the top like that. And now, so that we get the stitching on the top, all we do is, so I lined it up with the Christmas. Now I'm lining it up with the top of the M on the Merry, and it just sort of falls back in to place. I'm going to run it there, so it'll only cut the top edge. When you pull this back out, you've got your stitching. So yeah, so the stitching goes all the way around. So now that will fit in there. And I think I do want a little gold border around it, but I think we'll just have a plain gold border rather than stitched. And there we are, still spins, still goes past it. Yeah, definitely one you could batch make. Now, will I ever be able to solve it again? Yeah, every time I do one of these, I'm always surprised by how tricky they actually are to solve. So there we go. And if you didn't have a brad that you liked, we could have done the hidden brad technique, so you wouldn't have ended up with the brad in the middle. All you do, if you've not seen it, is instead of sticking these 2 layers together, you only put the hole through the bottom one, and then you put tiny bits of foam tape around and put a little brad in the middle and stick it so that it's on top of your brad, and then you don't have to do that. So there we go. I think we'll end that there. There's my card. Yeah, I'm sure most of you have already liked and subscribed. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this. So thank you so much. Bye.